We Who Paved the Milky Way, and I don't know how today's gonna go because it's kind of close to their feeding time and they might drive me crazy. But we're gonna go ahead and get right into chapter 3, and hopefully it'll be a fun time. Just a reminder that I do have limited editing that I do in these videos. This is a very casual audiobook, and there will be mistakes. I will clear my throat, and hopefully you'll enjoy this format. All right, it's time for We Who Paved the Milky Way, Chapter 3. Chapter 3. I wake to the beeping of the transporter craft's system panel. Entering atmosphere flashes across the screen. I arrived back to the craft in the early hours of Yabi's dawn and attempted to catch a few moments of rest during my trip back to Yalk. I can see Yalk clearly on the viewer screen. My thoughts feel as thick as Yalkian mash. I struggle to sort through them. What does this mean? In some ways, it doesn't mean anything at all. People disappear. It happens. We all know that it happens. But I saw it. Now I know what it means to disappear. I see the bodies lying there in the sand all over again. If I had any food left in my stomach, I would feel sick. Saul's father is just gone. A sharp pain digs into my chest. When Saul was a child, his mother died during the wheeze. The wheeze was an outbreak that had been eradicated by the time I arrived at Unit B. We had outbreaks in Unit C, but not like the wheeze. A third of Unit B's population died. It was one of the reasons why it was so easy for me to transfer. There were plenty of open living spaces. Saul had lost his mother, and his father never found another pairing. His father became a quiet recluse, keeping to himself. Many said that he blamed the Gromtu for bringing the infection to the planet. It was easy to believe that the Gromtu were the simplest way that a disease could enter the unit. Just bringing in any outside germ could cause an outbreak. After the wheeze, the transporter crafts were redesigned to spray decontaminant when their doors opened. That didn't save Saul's mother, though. And now Saul is about to learn he's all alone. The landing bay doors open and the craft lands using autopilot. I feel the safety of the too large seat of my transporter craft. What will happen when I exit? The Gromtu on Yabi may have already reported back to his friends on Yalk. I was spared before, but maybe it just needed time to decide what to do with me. My hands tremble as I reach into the folds of my shirt for the slip of paper. They called them coordinates, but they don't look like any coordinates I've ever seen. It's just 3 words. I pinch them hard between my finger and my thumb, and my hand steadies a little. This is what they died for. This is what I might die for. And I don't even understand what they mean. They said it leads to a red planet, but I don't know how to use them, what the red planet signifies, or if my craft would even get me there. The limits of my fuel tank could make it impossible for me to even reach the planet they were talking about. I raise the command key on my wrist to my lips. If I lower the door to my craft, there's a good chance I'm going to be greeted by a white light. I breathe in, thinking of Karen. What does she think of her older brother? Will she ever learn of my disappearance? I shiver. Maybe she thinks I have disappeared already. I never even bothered to explain why I left. My stomach swims. By now, I probably have siblings that I have never even gotten the chance to meet. I may never even get the chance to meet. 1,000,000 times over, I have regretted the decision to leave Unit C, but now I regret it more than ever, even if I felt suffocated there. I'm fraught with images of my mother staring blankly at the walls as Karen learned to crawl. The obligations, the responsibilities, the repetition ate me up. The contentment others had with pretending to be content, it disgusted me. I judged them for trying to find ways to survive their lives. Now I wish I hadn't been such a selfish child. I stand up with a sinking feeling. The craft is small. A few steps won't delay my impending death for long. Open hatch door. Nothing happens. I peek out and spot a Gromtu across the landing bay, preening a feather on its shoulder. Something about it must not have been to its liking, because it plucks it coldly. I guess that whatever they plan to do with me, they don't plan to do it now. I pass through the doors into the core of Unit B and sigh a deep breath of relief. I need to tell Saul. I need to tell the others what I witnessed while I still have the chance. Just because I'm not dead now doesn't mean that they will allow me to see what I've seen. The buildings are a blur. Heads turn as I pass and children point. I'm causing a scene. I pass a crate, but there's no one standing on it. Jacob! He grabs my sleeve. Hey, what are you doing running like that? Have you cracked? Let me go, Emmanuel. I'm not cracked. I have to talk to Saul, I yell, snatching away my arm. Emmanuel curses at me. Why do you need to talk to me so badly? The voice stops me. Saul. Samuel is standing with him too. They are holding their swatters as if they've just come back from a game of Scrab's eyeball. Saul? I thought you weren't going to be around us anymore, I pant. He turns red until I can't see the freckles on his face. Didn't realize I was so unwelcome. That's not what I mean, I roll my eyes. Samuel steps in. We made Armand apologize for what she said. It was just gossip anyways, right, Saul? I look at Saul to search his reaction, but he just nods, appeased by Samuel's peacemaking. The red drains a little from his face. Saul looks like the complete opposite of Samuel. Saul is pale and freckled with reddish blonde hair. He is closer to my age, but not as tall as Samuel, and his stomach is much rounder. My heart still thunders in my chest. Saul, although looking at me strangely, appears to be completely unaware of what's happened. That's good, I force a smile. It's impossible to tell if Saul even knows the validity of his father's ties with the Talkers. My words catch in my mouth. How could I even begin? I can't tell him in front of the others. They've only just got permission to see him again. I stare at him dumbly. Saul, what's the Gromtu doing outside your apartment? Emmanuel points. The hairs lift on my arms. Saul's eyebrows knit together in confusion. I don't know, he says, wiping the hair from his forehead. I turn to follow their gaze. The Gromtu places something on the door and moves away. What did it put on your door? Emmanuel whispers. Samuel is very pale, but Saul shrugs. It didn't put anything on anyone else's door, he mumbles. I'm dumbstruck as they start walking curiously towards his apartment. My determination to tell Saul what happened on Yabi extinguishes. I don't want him to read what's on that door. There's security in ignorance. I don't want to watch, but I'm drawn in as if I'm watching a video. He pulls the slip from the door. He stiffens. The slip falls and swings down to the ground. What? What is it? Emmanuel lays a hand on his shoulder. Emmanuel never studied the Lovidex, and he can't read it. Samuel walks forward and picks it up off the ground. He mouths the words to himself, and his eyes go wide. He looks to me. I don't have to read it to know what it says, but Samuel extends it to me, and I take it from him obediently. Hereof, Kish is no longer a citizen. Samuel! Jacob, what does it say? Emmanuel shouts. Samuel's eyes don't leave me. He shakes his head. Without another option, Emmanuel looks to me. I open my mouth, not knowing what I'll say. Saul beats me to it first, and though I didn't know what to say, I wouldn't have said this. It says, my father's dead. I can hear the anger burning in his voice. We all watch him now. He wipes away tears from the corners of his eyes, and I don't know if they're from grief or fury. It doesn't say he's dead, Samuel breaks in quietly. Guilt washes over me. Why can't I just tell him the truth? Why can't I tell him what I saw? I should have said it as soon as I found them. I shouldn't have hesitated. He's dead, Saul snaps back, turning on us, but not looking at anyone in particular. Saul, Emmanuel starts. His voice is filled with worry. It's probably best that you stay away from me now. You know why they killed him, He shakes. Saul, we would never. Emmanuel tries again. I said stay away. He slides open the door to his apartment and slams it behind him. Emmanuel stalks away, and I know he's trying to hide tears that he's too proud for. I wish that Samuel would follow him, but I know that he won't. My heart clenches. Do you think Saul's right? He whispers. I grit my teeth. If I tell him what I know, it changes everything. He will have to live with the burden of knowing that we are just as easily extinguishable as bugs. Over the time that I've been in Unit B, these three have been unknowingly like brothers to me. I want to protect Samuel. If I can protect any of them, let it at least be Samuel with his good heart. I think you should follow Emmanuel home, I say. It's going to take some convincing to make him believe that Saul didn't mean what he just said. Samuel nods understandingly, and I'm relieved that he doesn't pressure me for an answer. Are you going to try to talk to Saul? He asks me instead. Yeah, I surprise myself by saying. All right, good luck. Samuel smiles sadly at me, and then jogs after his brother. I give a big sigh and knock on the door. I said swat off, the whole lot of you. Saul hollers back. It's just me, I say, not knowing why I think it will make a difference. To my astonishment, the door opens just a crack. The doors don't actually lock, so technically, I could have come in either way, but I prefer to have his permission. I'm hit with a wave of stale air as I enter. It's obvious that Saul's door stays shut for the majority of the time. I respect Saul's wish to sit in the privacy of the dark and shut the door behind me. The lights turn off. At first, I can't see anything at all, and then my eyes adjust to the dark. Light from the hallway seeps in through the cracks of the door and shoots a ray of light across his face. You wanted to tell me something before, he says quietly. I'm surprised to find that he's not crying. His hands are folded behind his head as he lies on his cot staring at the ceiling. I don't know what he's thinking. This is somehow much worse than finding him in shambles. It was nothing, I lie. He nods, willing to accept my lie. For a moment, he's quiet, and I don't know if he intends for me to leave or not. They murdered him, he hisses, barely audible. I sigh, relieved that he was the one to break the topic. I take a seat on the ground beside his cot, taking care not to sit on his father's empty one. I realize now in the dark just how tired I am. Only hours ago, I was walking through the dark on Yabi. My arms fall limply. Nothing feels real. It's like I'm watching everything happen just outside of my body. You don't deny it like Samuel did, Saul whispers. Does he think I know more than I'm saying? My heart quickens. I wish that I could see his face better, but my eyes haven't entirely adjusted yet. It's because you're older than they are, he says. I jump on the excuse. Yeah, I am. I wonder if it was true then. I wonder if he was a talker sympathizer. I never even thought about it before. I never paid attention to what he did. He was so bitter after Mum died. I didn't even want to be around him. We never even talked about it. I nod, not knowing exactly how to respond. I can't shake off the feeling that he should be talking to Emmanuel. He's his closest friend. I'm just a guy they asked to play Scrabs ball one day. Saul, there's something... I try to say it, but his expression makes me hesitate. His jaw is clenched and tightly in anger. It's not so much that he's grieving, but that he's furious. They have to pay. He pounds his fist against the wall. What do you mean? I ask tentatively. My heart patters. You know what they are, Jacob. They're monsters. They take our bodies so they can live forever. They're secretive, horrid, nasty parasites. This speech sounds hauntingly familiar. They took him from me. What threat was he? Even if he did sympathize with people who yell in the corridors, what did it matter? What could they even do? We don't have any power. I can feel the piece of paper with the coordinates in the folds of my shirt. I suspect that the talkers did a little more than yell in the corridors. They must have gotten a little too close to the truth, and it all had to do with that red planet they were talking about. I'll tell them all. I'll tell all of Yalk what they did. Panic arises within me. I think of the white light which almost reached my hiding place behind the tent layers. I'm suddenly very thankful that I didn't tell him what I saw. The more he knows, the more he's likely to make himself a target. So, I caution, you know what they did. You know what they're capable of. He jumps up to a sitting position and swings his legs around to face me. That's exactly why I have to tell everyone. Saul, it won't make a difference, I say evenly. People on Yalk won't listen, and what do you possibly want them to do about it? I'll make them listen! His eyes blaze. He ignores the second half of my question. Whatever you're thinking, Saul, don't do it. I thought of all people, Jacob, you would get it. Out of all of us, you've been the most restless. I hadn't thought it was that obvious. I can't meet his gaze. You think we don't get you? You think we don't notice the way you sulk all hung up on some guilt you won't tell us about? You think we don't know the reason you slink off to your transporter ship is that you can't stand to let yourself relax? That we don't know you hate yourself infinitely? I'm shocked. I don't know what to say. My face burns. He's only saying it because he's hurting, but he's telling the truth. The truth is that I've always held myself away from them. I hate myself more for his words. I want to respond to his accusations, but I don't know how. I deserve it. I deserve this for not returning to Unit C. You don't even like us. You think we're beneath you, he barks. That's not true. I defend myself finally, jumping to my feet. Then why can't you even look Samuel in the eye? My chest hurts. What did I do wrong? How did I somehow make him angry at me? It was a bad decision to come here. Samuel knows you don't like him, and he's still your creeping little shadow. That's not why. I do like Samuel. I fight back. Then why do you treat him like that? He challenges me. I can't get the words out. I can't tell him the truth. I can't tell him that I'm unreliable and undeserving. I can't tell him that I only hurt people like Samuel. I can't tell him any of this. You shut us out like it's nothing, he hollers. Like you just did to Emmanuel? My anger boils up from deep inside. It pours over the top, and I'm seething. I came here to console him, but now he's picking me apart. He doesn't know anything about me. He doesn't know how I feel. That was different. He says this, but his face reveals more pain than he's letting on. It wasn't, I state. Get out of my apartment. I don't bother to argue with him. My head is burning. I try to clear my head, but all I see is Samuel's dejected face and Rachel's limp figure. The white light flashes through my head repeatedly as the images pass through. It's too much to process. When I sleep, I dream of Corinne. All right. I know that's not the best place to leave everyone hanging, but that is where we are. Chapter 3 is over, and I hope you liked it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Do you have any ideas about what's going to happen? And I always love to read that kind of stuff and to know what people are thinking as they're listening or reading the book. And it was great seeing you. I hope to see you in the next chapter. Bye!